Oh, Lordy, there are tapes. Let's talk about the lies and cowardice of Kevin McCarthy. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So you've probably already heard, there are tape recordings of conversations between Liz Cheney and Kevin McCarthy that prove, beyond all doubt, that Kevin McCarthy is a liar. So the first thing that came to mind when I heard about these tapes and I heard the content of the conversations is something that I tweeted out this morning. It's great that there are tapes proving that Kevin McCarthy is a liar, but isn't proving McCarthy's a liar a little like proving Mr. Rogers is kind? Little morning snark never hurt anybody. So here is some of the new reporting about these taped conversations. This from Politico. Audio. McCarthy told colleagues he would seek Trump's resignation after January 6th. And that article begins, days after a violent pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol and sent lawmakers fleeing for their lives, House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy told top allies he would urge then-President Donald Trump to resign, according to an audio recording of a conference call on January 10th, 2021. The recording, obtained by New York Times reporters Alex Burns and Jonathan Martin and heard publicly for the first time Thursday on MSNBC, shows McCarthy preparing to formally break from Trump in the aftermath of the deadly riot and as House Democrats started drawing up an impeachment resolution. And friends, here are just a few highlights from those audio recordings. First, Kevin McCarthy. Liz, you on the phone? Liz Cheney. Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess there's a question. When we were talking about the 25th Amendment resolution, McCarthy says, yeah, Cheney, and you asked if, what happens if it gets there after he's gone? Is there any chance? Are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen? Here's another passage where Kevin McCarthy says, now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversation with Trump about Pence pardoning. Again, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should resign. That would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know. Now, before we dive into and tease out the import of that conversation, let's just take a minute and imagine how things would be different for our nation if Kevin McCarthy wasn't a liar and a coward. If he was someone motivated by a concern for what's best for the American people, rather than someone who is motivated by a determination to hold on to power at the expense of the American people. Okay, now back to reality, because Kevin McCarthy is who he is. So we'll have plenty of time to discuss the meaning and the import of these tapes. But for right now, let's just hit on a couple of the important takeaways. First, the call indicates that they had been discussing the 25th Amendment, removal of a president for unfitness. Some of the leaders of the Republican Party had been debating whether to deploy the 25th Amendment. I think we need to know more about that. But the second takeaway, and even more importantly, Kevin McCarthy said this. Now, This is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversation with Trump about Pence pardoning. Kevin McCarthy didn't just pull that fear out of thin air. I'm going to have a conversation with him, but I don't want him to bring up the Pence pardon thing. Doesn't that suggest that Donald Trump had brought up the Pence pardon thing previously? And if so, you know what that is? It's evidence of guilt. It's evidence of consciousness of guilt. Donald Trump knew that if he were to resign, he would need a pardon from newly installed President Mike Pence. Why? Because Donald Trump knows he's committed crimes. And that, what Kevin McCarthy says, is inferentially evidence of his consciousness of guilt, Donald Trump's consciousness of guilt. And that is why Kevin McCarthy must appear before the House Select Committee investigating the insurrection. And that is why Kevin McCarthy must appear before a federal grand jury investigating the crimes of Donald Trump. Because justice flippin' matters. It matters. Hold on tight, friends, because we are going to get there. It's going to take a while. It's going to remain rocky and bumpy and an uphill climb, but we are going to get there. And as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with y'all again tomorrow.